Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, joined by Bryan Leonard at Leonard Sports on Twitter, and Tony Finn at WagerTalk. Too many ats for me. I'm going to redo your Twitter name, make it easier.
Okay. He's pretty agreeable.
He's just like, yeah, sure. Do whatever you want, Kelly. All right, guys, it's baseball season. Almost. We're, just kind of hanging out, watching preseason baseball. Super exciting stuff. But what is exciting is these season win totals. I know that there's some really juicy numbers out there. Bryan, I'll start with you. Let's go walk through your process of handicapping season win totals first.
Yeah, the mistake most people make is they see the Boston Red Sox winning 100 and whatever games they won last year, and they make these adjustments and they go, oh, they're going to be just as well. What I do, first thing I do is instead of looking at wins, I look at the runs and I look at base runs. Base runs basically are the way the teams have scored. For example, you can have the same things happening in the same inning. You can have a team hit a home run to lead off the inning, the next two guys make outs, the next three guys walk, the next guy makes an out. So they have four base runners for the inning. They score one run. You can also have first guy walks, second guy walks, third guy walks, fourth guy hits a home run, 4 runs compared to 1, and the next 3 guys make out. So basically when you're looking at base runs, you're looking at an average of what it should have been on the season, taking out a lot of the luck factor. That's the first thing I look for when I'm looking at how the team should have done the year before. The second thing I look at is how these teams do in one-run games. A lot of it has to do with the bullpens. And you've got certain games where over the course of a season, a team's going to win a certain amount of games, lose a certain amount of games on the one run, basically a 50-50 proposition. So some teams get very lucky the year before. Some teams have terrible luck. And also you take a look at extra innings, the same thing. It should be, in the long run, you should be breaking even on these one-run games and on these extra inning games. And that's how I figure out how a team should have done the year before. Then I take a look at this year's roster and go by the WAR, the team's combined WAR on those games. Do you want
to explain what WAR is really quick?
WAR is basically the value wins above replacement. And I was just in spring training. You mentioned spring training. I had asked Marco D'Angelo this, and I'll ask you guys. If a WAR is a win above replacement, meaning they are better than a replacement, like a 4A, AAA, 4A kind of team, how many wins do you think a replacement level team, all replacement level players, would win in a 162 game season?
Oh, half? Like 80?
80?
80 is a lot, though.
80 is too many.
It is too many.
I would say I'd give you a convoluted answer and tell you, well, it depends. There's basically
just a guess.
I would say more like 55.
All right. Well, that's as close as I've gotten. Basically, it's 48.
Whoa.
So if you take this team's minor league AAA team, put them in the majors, they're going to win 48 games. So what I do is I take the 48 and then I add the projected WAR for that team, and that's how I come up with the season wins for this year. And if a team underperformed or overperformed last year, and the same thing is happening here with the season wins, that's what I'm looking for when it comes down to the WAR. And I'll get into my 2 plays in just a moment.
All right, Tony, talk to me about how you basically are handicapping season wins, and then I'll let you tell me who your favorite. I mean, you're kind of already giving it away, but I'll let you tell me who some of. That's for another video.
Yes.
Bryan's giving this video away.
Yes.
Then you can tell me who you like in season win totals.
Yeah. Very similar. First off, I assess. I do team previews. And I use underlying peripherals, much like WAR, much like expected weighted on batted ball. You can use that variable is a good one to use because you can use it for pitchers and for hitters. And XW OBA, or basically on base average. I assess free agents. I assess more than anything when it comes to team wins. More than anything that hasn't been mentioned is I assess. The division as a whole. You have divisions where teams play each other 76 out of 162 games. And my over for this video is weighted heavily on the division, on one team and the 4 teams they're playing against 76 times during the course of a year with an over of only 90.5. So I use a lot of underlying peripherals, a lot of sabermetric analytics, much like much like I do when I play fantasy baseball, and I incorporate those into that formula.
Okay, perfect. All right, Bryan, give me your 2. I know you have 2 in the American League win totals.
I do, and it was a great point you made about the schedules, because every team plays different schedules, and this team has the easiest schedule in Major League Baseball because of the teams they play, which means they're going to win more games.
Right. So how much of that is already weighted into the line?
It's weighted into it, but you also have to be able to do that yourself, because if you were to take the Indians, I don't know what he's going to take, but if you were to take the Indians on the strength of the teams in the American League, they're probably 5th or 6th. But they're going to be rated higher because they play such a weak schedule. But one of the 2 teams, I have 2 qualifying plays in the American League. One is the Oakland A's. Oakland last year, when you're using the base runs, they were at 95. But they were plus 17 in one-run games and plus 7 in extra inning games. They were very lucky last year. I make this line this year based on the talent that they have on the field, the WAR. It's 79.4. I'm getting under 84.5. That's a 5 differential. That's a big bet. Normally, if it's a 2 or more, I make that bet. And that's my first play, is the Oakland A's under. The second one, I think I'm going to be out on my own on this one because I've some guys that I really respect are opposite me on this one, but I like the Baltimore Orioles. Last year, take a look at Baltimore. Their basically run average was 56. They should have won 56 based on the base runs, but they were minus 17 in one-run games, minus 6 in extra inning games, and I've got their talent level at 62.0, and right now I can get them over 58.5, which is basically a 3.5, and nobody wants to play Baltimore. And that's because of the division they're in. They're in such a tough division, people don't expect them to win, but they had so many things go bad for them last year. I like this Baltimore over.
All right, give me your over for the American League, Tony.
Cleveland Indians, as I just discussed, the over. You have the Royals, you have the White Sox, you have the Twins, and then you have and the Tigers too.
So you're basically what you're saying is you're expecting those 4 teams to really not play up to the level of Cleveland, so those should be easier wins for Cleveland?
Well, I'm saying that's a heavy weighted variable.
Okay.
Why I like Cleveland, and despite the fact that they got rid of a lot of veterans. I mean, they kept their pitching staff intact. Miller is probably their biggest loss as far as WAR goes.
Cody Allen also the closer.
Yeah, Cody Allen as well. But for the most part, the Minnesota Twins, in my opinion, are also overvalued in this division. They're getting a win total based on the 3 teams below them, being the Royals, White Sox, and Tigers too. And 9.5 wins for this team. I'll even step out and tell you that I think, as far as staff, overall depth, and quality, this may be the best team in baseball, and I think this is a team that can win 100 games this year.
That's awesome. I already bet it. If you watched our videos last week, we had another handicapper here at WagerTalk that gave out a season win total as well, so maybe go back and double check that one. This may be maybe a 2 times bet for Kelly in Vegas here. All right, guys, WagerTalk Text Club, 100% free. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to get a $10 coupon for signing up, plus free picks and other special offers.